Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the last match of the Australians Dota 2 tournament. I'm Xalorith, and today I'm joined by Dota Yoshi. How are you, Dota Yoshi?
I am doing fantastic. I think I just had the most delicious chicken I've ever had in my life. How are you, dude?
Still cold. For this game, we do have Birds up against Andy Quach and friends. I'm not sure how to pronounce that last name. But yeah, so these two teams are the last two teams that we're playing in round one. We do see that the Batrider banned off by Andy and friends at the start, and that Visage by Birds. So two relatively common heroes.
And it looks like Birds do not want to be up against any aggression, or they might want to try and get their own set of aggression. As long as, if you get that Visage out of the way, you either want to have you want to carry someone as an alchemist, or possibly even an anti-mage, and get them start farming. Usually when you take out those bans such as the alchemist, I mean not the alchemist, as the Visage, you might even see a shadow demon being banned out. I wouldn't be too surprised to try and get out any form of aggression. There's still a Lifestealer and a Darkseer that hasn't been banned out, so one of these teams could be likely to pick them up very shortly, if not currently banned out in the next by Birds.
Yeah, and we also have that IO, who is quite a common ban in the first phase of the draft. However, we did see him get picked up in the last game, in the friendly between Hans Reborn and Call of the Obsession. However, depending on how these teams exactly decide to play, we might see that IO. If we do see that IO, we'll see a lot of global potential. Instead, it's going to be a lone druid, so we still have that Lifestealer IO, that Nyx Assassin as we saw there, and also that Darkseer up, so quite a nice pool to choose from.
And that Nyx Assassin is going to allow Andy Quach and friends to control this early game if that Nyx Assassin decides to go mid, which is not very common. Sometimes you do if you want that very aggressive early, but we look to see him in that support role, but he can roam very early on. And there's that Shadow Demon, as I was saying about Birds. They're looking to pick up a little bit of aggression themselves. They get that Shadow Demon, True Protector with that help around the map, and his living armor. We have to keep anyone up and help even further push on this aggression, because once you have that living armor on someone, towers do nothing to you for 3, 4 and 5 instances. At the start of the early game, you'll have a lot of regen to follow up on that. Darkseer, he's going to be able to control the lanes really well and be able to help these team fights out. I wouldn't be too surprised if Andy Quach and friends decide to pick up Gyrocopter to combo that well with the Darkseer's Vacuum. Maybe even very long shot, but an Enigma. I'd love to see an Enigma.
Yeah, definitely. I like this ban from Weaver, from Andy Quach and friends. Weaver is such a good hero in the offlane up against something like a Darkseer, so banning that out is quite good. The Gyrocopter ban is a little bit interesting. Generally you can put Gyrocopter up against a Darkseer in the offlane, and he won't have too much problems as he is ranged. However, we also see that Lifestealer and Phantom Lance are banned, so Lifestealer does get banned out. He won't get played this game. But yeah, so far some decent bans and picks going up from both sides.
I feel as Birds, they definitely have something in their minds they want to pull. As you see that Magnus now coming out, should be seeing him mid. We haven't been seeing him a lot recently. He's still a fantastic hero. I mean, RP, it is still one of the most beneficial spells in the game. It does the same stun as a black hole, pretty much. I think just lower by half a second, and its damage has been lowered, but it doesn't mean you still got skill, you still got shockwave, and there's your damage right there. And not to mention his Empower scales fantastic into late game. It can save heroes such as the anti-mage having to buy a Battle Fury, because you can throw an Empower on and then they'll be fine. They can farm those stacks easily, they can farm lands, and they can just cleave through the opposition team. So I really like this pickup of Magnus, and I look to see Birds be quite a early to mid-game oriented team. They've already shown, usually once you pick up True Protector, you're looking to be that mid-game role when he starts to grab his overgrowth. You start pushing down towers and start grouping up for these team fights. And Anti-Quach, themselves, they do not have... Well, I should say they can oppose them quite well to start off with. You have your Darkseer, he'll be fine at all levels. He has his Vacuum, he has that Wall, and they've actually changed his spell icons for that. I've only just noticed that. They look cool. and he'll be able to fight these and be able to start taking in these mid-game fights. We'll see if Andy Quach and friends, they want to start picking up heroes to take this mid-game, or if they want to run this late and try and take this later on with possibly an anti-mage pickup on a very odd chance, or if they might want to go for, as you were talking about earlier, go for the IO or even a Nature's Prophet to get some split pushes up, because birds currently they won't be able to deal with that split push, especially with that Strength Protector and Shadow Demon.
Yeah, definitely. And Quach and friends, they do have quite a few options. They haven't picked up any carry so far, but as you said, there is that anti-mage still in play. Also Luna as well. Instead, they're just going to go for Rubik, and I like this choice considering the Treant Protector and Magnus picks from Birds. I'm a little surprised they wouldn't ban that Rubik a little bit earlier. Generally, if the enemy is picking up something like the lineup that they have, that Rubik does get picked up, and even if there's not a lot of those great AoE ultis to steal, Rubik is just a pretty strong support hero in general.
But this game, look to see Rubik just sit back, and I wouldn't be too surprised if he steals at least RP twice, and it'd be absolutely fantastic if he does. They can turn around any fights, especially if someone gets RP'd. If the Darkseid's in that RP, he can vacuum everyone else who will eventually swarm in onto that RP group to heroes, and then Rubik can just counter RP after that vacuum, and there'll be a lot of damage. We do see that anti-mage being picked up by birds, so they are going for that cleaving with that Magnus and his Empower. I also wouldn't be too surprised they might want to pick up a Beastmaster for an off lane, because then you have the attack speed aura that he does give available, or has on offer I should say. And then the Alchemist, Andy Quach and friends, they want to be able to take this game late if it does happen to go late, so they have their own pickup of the Alchemist. Alchemist against an anti-mage, it's anyone's game. So this is going to be quite an interesting game to watch, and see, it will come down to the ganking and roaming abilities of these supports for both sides.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and we actually see the Keeper of Light get banned out here by Birds, which is a bit of an interesting choice. And there's a Bounty Hunter as well. A Bounty Hunter pretty common in offlane. They still have some other heroes to choose from, such as like the Windrunner or the Clockwork. However, Andy Quach, they pick up the Alchemist, so I like this Alchemist. Depending on exactly how they decide to lane this, they can still lane Nyx Assassin with the Rubik and Alchemist and have maybe like a Puck or something in the mid lane. But yeah, with this Alchemist, it's just going to be a lot of lockdown, a lot of stuns, and it can cause quite a lot of trouble here for Birds, as well as the fact that Alchemist, if he's allowed to farm early, can really snowball throughout the entire game.
And one of the things I love about the Alchemist pickup is he's one of the heroes that can initiate fights. So if your carry can initiate the fight, you have follow-up stuns coming from that Rubik and that Nyx Assassin, and you can just do a lot of damage early on. I mean, you start charging your unstable concoction, then you have a Rubik lift. Straight after that, you can have an impale, and then after all those stuns are finished, your cocktail is almost full, and you can throw that down. That's about 6 seconds of lockdown right there and then. That's a lot of damage that's going to come following through. So this tri-lane of Andy Quach and friends is going to be really strong and really aggressive. I wouldn't be too surprised if they want to force an aggressive tri-lane against Birds tri-lane, because as it currently sits, they've got such a better tri-lane in terms of coming down to killing each other. With Birds, they have the Treant Protector and Shadow Demon. These two heroes are good at, they've got really good defensive abilities. You have your Seed Leech to get health back, you've got your Living Armor to negate and mitigate the damage, and then anti-mage, you can just blink away. So they're looking to farm up and try and keep that anti-mage as safe as possible, whereas Andy Quach and friends, they will want to hit him hard, and if they can hit him hard and early on, Alchemist is going to get ahead, and he's just going to be really strong.
10 seconds remaining.
Definitely, we see that Puck pick up there by Birds. So it looks like they're going to put that Magnus off into the off lane, Puck in the mid lane, and we'll see exactly how Andy Quach and friends decide to retaliate this Puck pick. They can pick up something like a Queen of Pain, who can go to toe-to-toe. Instead, it's going to be a Shadow Fiend, and this is very interesting, and I actually really love this, because Shadow Fiend is a strong hero in terms of right clicks. It's not your standard hero that goes up against the Puck, but he should still be able to farm relatively well once he gets those souls up.
And once he does get those souls up, Puck's going to have a very hard time. You can only phase shift so many razors, you can only phase shift so many auto attacks, and once Shadow Fiend gets those souls, he'll be doing upwards of 90 to 100 auto attack damage within the first 4 to 5 minutes of the game, and that's going to be very hard for Puck to deal with. Or maybe if we see a Puck on that sideline, Magnus is even going to have even a worse time if they do put him in mid. It just really depends on how Birds want to play out their lineup. I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised. I have seen them run that Magnus mid lane before and have had a Quinn Pain off lane in one of their previous matches. But I believe that you are right here, and I don't think they'll be wanting to run that. But then again, up against the Darkseer, Magnus shouldn't be having too much problem. He could just easily shockwave through those creeps, and the Puck wouldn't have too much problem either. So we'll see how they do on a lineup.
Yeah, definitely. And let's introduce our players for both sides. On the side of Anti-Quach and Friends, we have their captain, Minky Magic, playing that Shadow Fiend. We have Hello Moto on the Nyx Assassin. Darkseer will be played by Shinji. We've got Aaron Lennon on the Alchemist, and last but not least, we've got Doodles on the Rubik.
And over on Birds, we have Bonsai, my apologies, on that Anti-Mage. We have Mulajo on that Shadow Demon, Tom Dodo on that Truant Protector, Desert Cat will be playing that Magnus, and finally on that Puck will be Squonk. I believe that's Squonk.
Yeah, something like that.
I also think they're Russian characters, so that doesn't help.
Yeah, there's a bit of mix in there. Nonetheless, I suspect that we'll probably have this Magnus up in the top lane and the Darkseer with him there. Now, Magnus, as you said, he will have that shockwave. The only problem is because the Puck will be in the mid lane, he probably won't get a bottle, or if he does, he'll be heavily contested for runes. Firstly, Shadow Fiend will of course want him, and so will the Puck himself. So he's going to still be able to shockwave, but it's not going to be as frequent as it would if he was in that mid lane and had that bottle.
But we might even see Birds. If they do decide to get a bottle on the Magnus, we might see Magnus go heavily for the bottle Crowan, and it'll just free up. I mean, Anti-Mage, down on that bottom lane, if you guys are being aggressive, you can grab your Ring of Health, you can grab your boots, and complete quite a lot of your items down in that shop before even the 10-15 minute mark, before you need to actually start grabbing your Claymore and other items back from home. And by that time, your Magnus has already hit level 6, he's got his items, he should hopefully have an Arcane Boots at that stage, and you can be quite fine right there. And Shadow Demon and that Trent, I mean, they might be a little bit hurt from not being able to use the Q to get some of those wards and other items, but then again, they can still pick up their boots from the outpost if they decide to bottle crow that Magnus.
Yeah, definitely. We actually see a Tango drop there by Nyx Assassin, which is going to go to the Shadow Fiend, so Shadow Fiend just getting a little bit of pulled items. He will pick up an early Wraith Band there. And it looks like Birds just moving over into their own jungle, trying to stop any potential warding that might happen and maybe even pick up a kill. However, it doesn't look like this Darkseer is really just going right into there. He's just playing back a little bit, and they won't be able to find anyone here, and they'll split off into their individual lanes very soon.
And they didn't leave this Darkseer any wards, so he's not going to be able to block this pull or be able to try and do too much. But then again, because of that, when he has these Iron Shells onto those crypts and they push against that tower, it's going to be very hard to try and grab those crypts off the tower if you're the Anti-Mage, because you're going to take a lot of Iron Shell damage. So I'm not too sure. Once they see these lanes, I would like to see a rotation come out from AQAF. I would like to see them put their tri-lane against the other tri-lane, because they just have that much more aggressive and the ability to pick off heroes. And the Alchemist, but then again, if you have this bottom safe lane as the Alchemist, if you do lots of stacking for that Alchemist, he's going to get farmed really fast and fed quite hard from those jungle creeps. So it's up to Birds, I would believe, to decide how they want to play this game and take control of it, because Andy Quach and friends, oh, it's not Andy Quach and friends, Andy Quach and friends, they will be wanting to sit back and just try and farm it. And with that Shadow Fiend and Alchemist, they have all the ability in the world to take this mid to late game.
Definitely, and you know, I feel like Andy and friends can set up a good early first blood here against the Magnus in that bottom lane. He can get stun locked down, and he's got quite a bit of health. Hold that forward. It looks like we might have an initiation here on that Darkseer. It does get right clicked a little bit. So far, there's the disruption. We'll see if there's a follow up. It's not going to be enough. He doesn't have the surge, but he still will be able to get away.
And as I slightly suspected, that Magnus is in mid lane, so he's not on that bottom lane. He will be taking over that mid lane position. It will be up against that Shadow Fiend. So they're going to be looking for a fast RP onto this Magnus and get him some levels. And Puck will be up against that tri-lane, and he's not going to be able to get anything. I mean, you have 3 stunning heroes down here, 3 crowd controlling heroes. There's no way you're going to be able to get away from there, even with your phase shift and your orb. So Puck's going to have a very difficult time down here.
Yeah, definitely, and that Magnus though, he should be alright. In that mid lane, he currently is at the top in terms of last hit. So doing quite well so far. Darkseer now has that surge, so he should be feeling very safe, even with that disruption. He should still be able to get out of any sticky situation.
Now we go into a sort of passive farm kind of mode where both sides, they're not worried too much about doing a lot. We have Puck, she is stacking these ancient camps for the side of the Dire, so that's going to be useful. The only thing he can do quite currently, so it's better than nothing, getting some stacks of those going up, especially once you have your Magnus. You throw that Impale into your Anti-Mage, and Anti-Mage can just rip through those creeps, and his farm will skyrocket. And Puck picks up this haste, rotating in from behind the creeps at the Shadow Fiend, but he's got pinged off. They know he's here. They're coming in for a counter gate. Nyx and that Rubik are going to be looking for kill on this Puck. Puck's got an orb. Will he be able to get it off in time? He's running around. He's going to show it himself. Nyx is here. We've got a skewer coming in. Nice Impale to land. Keep that Puck held into place. Puck gets thrown up in the air. Magnus takes a lot of damage, but he's going to get out of there and start bottling up, and now Puck's on the retreat. So a little bit of a back and forth harassment going on there, and Magnus almost falling to that Shadow Fiend. If Magnus had fallen, that would have been the end of Magnus's mid lane, because that's one thing they cannot afford, is giving that Shadow Fiend a kill, getting some more souls off of that Shadow Fiend, and your Magnus is falling behind, not being able to get any arcane boots, and very late blink.
Yeah, definitely, and we see that Alchemist here is just in the bottom lane by himself now, since that Puck did transition into mid, and he's been doing quite well. Sitting on 18 last hits now, he'll be very happy, and he'll have this free farm pretty much the entire game, unless Birds try to gank something.
I feel a little bit sorry for Andy Quach and friends. They tried to stack 2 camps, and I believe those creeps were completely outside those camps, but no creep camp spawned for. They could have had a triple camp in, well, actually a triple camp in their pool lane and a double camp in one of their harder camps, but unfortunately for them, it's not going to be stacked. They are going to start farming up and get some levels up on these supports from those ancients, so that's going to be welcomed.
Definitely, we see a bit of a rotation smoke going on here from Birds. They're rotating into the mid lane, just waiting for a good opportunity to engage. It's both the Treant Protector and that Shadow. So this Shadow Fiend has to be very careful here. If he gets caught out, instead they're just going to turn around and go on the Darkseer. He is relatively low, does not have his surge at the moment. He will have it in just a second though. Will it be enough damage though? There's the surge. He's on the run and he will be able to get away.
I feel as if Birds played that a little bit rough there. I mean, if Shadow Demon had waited until that Darkseer had thrown out that surge, then you could have instantly, basically ruined that entire surge. You would have found yourself a kill. However, Shadow Demon went straight in for that surge. Darkseer's surge came off cooldown because it was on 4 seconds for cooldown, and then they found a... Basically, he surged away, and in mid lane, they're going on Shadow Fiend. We see a skewer, but there's Shadow Demon can't get in range for that disruption. He throws out the Soul Catcher, trying to get whatever damage for that Magnus he can. We've got a rotation coming in from the next Assassin, Rubik, who's smoked up to get here a little bit faster. Impale hits on those 2 supports. Shadow Fiend's got to get out of here with 10 HP. There's no Shadow Poison or any follow-up. Magnus is trying to get a skill. Will he be able to get in range to get that skill off? No, they're going to be looking to get Doodles. Desu Cat's looking to get that Doodles. Doodles is walking away as fast as he can, but he's got no help. He might be in a lot of trouble here. Can Magnus get enough mana? Rubik turns around, and this should be the death on that Rubik. So first blood is going to that Magnus, and he's gonna have his arcane and that blink dagger just that much more faster.
Dire's
Definitely
bottom tower
quite a long chase there from birds onto Andy and friends. And we do see that the Alchemist during that entire engagement just pretty much stayed in his bottom lane. He continued to farm, and he's still very, very high up in that last hits. So despite that first spot, I mean, yes, the Magnus does get that lovely gold and the extra bit of experience, but the Shadow Fiend's still able to get away, and Shadow Fiend, in my opinion, can dish out a ton of damage, particularly when a lot of your heroes, such as the anti-mage, is a little bit fragile, particularly to those right clicks. So, nonetheless, despite that first blood, I mean, certainly it's a bit of an advantage out for birds. It's not a massive, lead. So, however, this Shadow Fiend might get caught out. He's trying to go for the double damage, denies it. That shockwave was actually going to miss him. He's on the run. Is it going to be enough? Uses a bottle very wisely, and he should actually just be able to get out of here.
That's very
Wow.
unfortunate. If a little bit of miscommunication there, Shockwave misses due to that disruption, and then he gets away. So if that Shockwave had landed before or after that disruption, that would have been a kill. And now they're looking to go up top. Darkseid's on very low health, and boom! The Mana Void comes flying out and destroys that Darkseid. So Darkseid's going to fall, giving away that kill to the Anti-Mage. But in terms of farm, this Alchemist is ridiculously far ahead already at the start of the game. He's got a Midas. He had it up before the 5-minute mark, and even by normal terms, even by fast terms, that is still ridiculously faster than the average time for an Alchemist to pick up a Midas. And now he's got 47 creep kills to his name. He's got a Midas up and running. He's sitting on 4k net worth already, and that's just going to keep accelerating throughout this game. So watch this Alchemist start picking up these bigger items over the next 5 minutes, and he's going to start hurting very shortly.
Yeah, definitely, and this Alchemist is just doing so much farming. Despite the
In mid
anti-mage
lane, we got a
picking up
gank going
that-
onto the Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend gets disrupted and soul captured. Now we have, once again, the third chase on the Shadow Fiend this entire game. Will they be able to find the kill? Skewer going the wrong way. Will he get those final auto attacks? He needs one more auto attack. Bottle, nice bottle charge by the Shadow Fiend. Runs into the trees. I believe Magnus could have chased him in there, but he's not going to decide to. So once again, Minky Magic on that Shadow Fiend is going to get away with his life.
Yeah, we're very well played there by him. It's been like what 3-4 times so far where he's gotten away on a sliver of health, and it looks like they might want to just decide to rotate into top and maybe get this Darks here. Nope, never mind. They're just gonna go into back. Instead, we see a little bit of an engagement on the puck. However, he's able to just get out with the help of that phase shift. But as I was saying before, this Alchemist is doing so great in farm, despite Anti-Mage getting a kill on the Darkseid. Alchemist is still 1.4k ahead in terms of net worth, which is massive.
And one thing I'd love to point out is I love the Shadow Demon. Shadow Demon, he's been rotating around the entire map, always been off the map. You can't figure out where he is, and at the moment he's attacking this Darkseid. He's trying to just cause another harassment, waiting for any support to come in if they want to come in. However, it's not going to be the case. And he's just forcing forcing the entire side of Andy, Quach and friends, to be playing defensively. Always not knowing where the Shadow Demon is one of the greatest assets you have to a team, because at any moment he can come out, disrupt you, soul catch you, and then you can be burst down so fast. And he's always been warding, he's always been on the move, and he's just been a valuable asset to birds at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. He's been doing some good roam. I've been trying to. Oh, we do see a smoke from the Parker Magnus. Looks like they want to get a gank on here. We do see a Shadow Blade pick up there from Alchemist, so he should be feeling very comfortable, very safe. However, this might be a big gank. They get spotted just a little bit early, and this might end up going in favor of Any Question Friends. There's the oh, that's a nice unstable concoction, just hitting Magnus as he was trying to skewer. Unfortunately, no kills for either side, but that is the loss of a smoke, which in these early phases of the game is a little bit costly.
I feel as if Desucat got a little bit greedy then. He wanted to get an RP onto two heroes, so he tried to run it in between them, and then in the end he gets nothing and had to skewer away. So that does, as you say, waste the smoke. It wastes valuable farm and gold time for this Magnus, and now he's still not sure where he's going. He's going up to this top lane to help out up top, but that's just more time he's spent off the map, and less time he's been able to get this farm and XP. Shadow Fiend's got that haste, shouldn't get killed anytime soon unless a great skewer RP comes off and a lot of burst damage come following through. But it's just going to run through this river. They're going to see this, and then they might go towards this Darkseid. They're going to be looking at it. Darkseid's got to surge up. He's going to spot out. No, he won't. It's nighttime vision. He's not going to spot out. We've got an aggressive tree. Anti-mage jumping in. You've got to see a nice disruption just when the surge comes out. This is what you want. And then the Mana Void to pop off and find that kill. And that was nice played by the entire side of Birds, but I think there was a little too many heroes. There's currently 4 heroes in this top lane, whereas on the side of Andy, they've got Shadow Fiend in mid, they've got 2 heroes down bottom, and now the Nyx Assassin eventually rotating up top.
Yeah, definitely, and this Shadow Fiend is just doing a little bit of chip damage against this tier 1. It might decide to push it eventually. We do see that ping coming out from Birdzo, and living up. This Nyx Assassin though is only level 4 so far. He doesn't quite have that ulti, so he can't really set up any ganks as of yet, but the moment he does have that level 6, we will see him start being much more aggressive around the map.
And now we look to see a little initiation up top. We got double Iron Shell onto the Darks to enter that creep, and that Magnus is waiting on the side. We got TP support coming in from that room. They're looking to fight this. We got very aggressive Darkseid. They see the rest of the heroes up here, and this should instantly tell the team of Andy to get back and try not to be too aggressive right here. They know that Magnus is still up here, especially with that shockwave, and they're not going to want to force this right yet.
Yeah, I feel the biggest problem here for Birds is this Alchemist is essentially getting free farm this entire game. It's currently sitting on 7k. Oh, hold that thought. Looks like we got never mind. I thought there was going to be a little bit of initiation on Anti-Mage. But as I was saying, Birds just leaving this Alchemist is on 7k net worth, which is a massive lead over his opponents. And he's just going to be able to snowball even further out of control, as of course he does have that Midas and that Shadow Blade now.
And one of the things about this constant rotation coming out by Desucat and Co is if you look at the gold graph, they are 2.5k behind, and their XP is about 2.5k as well. So they've been losing. They have had 2 lanes unoccupied for about a minute to 2 minutes, and that's a lot of XP in terms of loss. The gold's not so much important because you expect that Alchemist to skyrocket in there, but the XP, they haven't been able to pick up XP and gold in lanes that have been unoccupied. So they've got 3 kills ahead, but in the terms of the entire game as an overall at the moment, they are behind, and the towers have taken quite considerably a lot more damage than the rest of their own. And at top lane, we've got a nice disruption soul catcher onto that Nyx Assassin, but he's got no support and he's going to back off, especially with that Rubik and Darkseid looming on the side.
Definitely. And one interesting thing is that this Anti-Mage just picked up a Battle Fury. And when you've got a Magnus on your team, that's, I don't know, personally I think he should have probably gone for something else, like maybe an early Yasha. That Battle Fury also up against something like that Shadow Fiend, who has heavy right click and not as much magic, well, he can still magic burst, but definitely in the later phases of the game is going to be doing a ton of right click damage. Yeah, the Battle Fury is just a little bit of an interesting choice in my opinion.
I think Birds, they know what's going on here. Every hero is currently missing off the map, and they've wisely decided, we'll leave the top tower. Alchemist has left that bottom lane, so he's disappeared somewhere as well. So, they've wisely backed off this tower. They're going to let this tier 1 go down, but they might even try and get a trade down bottom, or at least some chip damage. Shadow Fiend's returning back to mid. And now, we might see an engagement up top. They know where all the heroes are. Shadow Demon's coming in to, like, force anyone off. Maybe get a disruption if anyone's looming around for too long. So they do eventually save that tier 1 tower. And now Andy Quach, oh my god. They are looking to be very aggressive. Alchemist's got that Iron Shot up and running. Nice ward coming down by the Shadow Demon. And they know what's going on. They can see everything. They see this Alchemist being surged. So very nice ward coming down by Bellagio.
Yeah, very well placed there, and right at the right moment as well. And you can see that Birds are just hiding in the trees. And this will give Andy Quach and friends the opportunity to push that, push that tier 1 tower though. And it looks like they do spot. They didn't actually spot the Shadow Demon, but they're certainly looking around for heroes. There's that disruption and the follow-up on the Shadow Fiend. Magnus is in here with a haste. He's running around. There's a few TPs. However, that Shadow Demon will be the first to fall. There's the RP. Lands onto. Well placed. However, is it going to be enough? That Alchemist does fall as well as the Nyx. And now it's Andy Quach and friends who might be in a little bit of trouble. That Shadow Fiend is just doing work though. We did see a few buybacks there. And this Darkseer is on the chase, but unfortunately won't be able to get that back. And he didn't get that tier 1 either.
That was very well played. We have this Alchemist. He's still being aggressive. Talkdown's being charged. It lands onto the Shadow Fiend. A few more auto attacks, and we have a dead Shadow Demon. So, but that last fight, Birds, they played it quite nice. They had an RP, and then just as that Magnus was about to get final auto attacked and die, we had an Overgrowth to pop. Magnus got on out of there and eventually survived and killed that Darkseer. We had a buyback by this Alchemist to come back into the fight, so I believe that was 4 for 5 trade with a buyback on Alchemist, so it was fairly even for both sides. But Andy, the team of Andy, they've grabbed that top tier 1 tower, so they've become out on top, and that's more beneficial trade for them. But both sides playing quite well in that engagement, and Alchemist taking out one of the strongest support heroes straight at the start, and then Birds just fell under that tower.
Yeah, definitely. We also saw a buyback there from Shady, which he teleported back to that top tower and he got pretty much killed immediately afterwards for the Alchemist, which is a little bit unfortunate for him. Cost him quite a lot of gold. We do see these this anti-mage just continuing to farm around the map. Putting that battlefield really the use there. Trying to stay as close as possible to the Alchemist in terms of farm. We'll get a little bit of mana drained there from the next assassin, but nothing he'll be too worried about. Just going to walk out. And it looks like he'll probably go for this. There's the ancient stack.
So speaking of that ancient stack, Minky Magic also stacked their ancients ready for that Alchemist to come farm, and we might have an initiation in middle. We got Magnus blinks in, skill is gonna miss, so they've just revealed that blink dagger. They know he's got it. They're gonna be a lot more careful than to group up together now in these next few engagements. And they know a few of these supports are looming around, because Daylight Vision did give the vision to those supports on the side of Birds. So Shadowfinch is going to stay on that tower. Bottom tower is going to take a lot of damage from this Alchemist. He's burning through that tower. And now we've got a Shadow Demon coming in. He's ready to engage. The entire side of Birds are rotating through that river. Not going to be spotted out, but you think the team of Andy, they're going to know something's up, and rightfully so, they've backed themselves. You've seen all heroes are missing. That mid tower is unprotected, so very nice rotation by the team of Andy to get out of there before anything bad happens to him.
Yeah, definitely. And we do see that Shadow Fiend, he sort of spots something, he knows something's up, so he moves out as well. Good decision there by him. We do see that next assassin he's level 6, and I suspect that we might see him start to roam around with that ulti and that vendetta. We do see a little bit of a chase on Shadow Fiend by the Magnus, but he's going to decide to just back off instead. He does have that blink if he really wants to go in there. But there is this Shadow Blade from Shadow Fiend, so he should be able to survive. He's going to just use the Shadow Blade and walk on out of it.
I think they could have had him there. You have your Magnus Blink RP, Anti-Mage comes in, your mana burn, any mana that Shadow Fiend had to be able to pop off that Shadow Blade, you found yourself a kill. But it's not gonna happen. I believe Desucat was following him the entire time, was following him, making sure he was on the high ground to get that vision, waiting for his team to rotate in. Anti-Mage could be in a lot of trouble here. We have 2 invis units. Nyx Assassins pop that Vendetta. Vendetta's gonna hit very shortly. Blink is down. It's gonna be up. Will they have enough burst damage? They will have more than enough. So Anti-Mage will fall to those 2 heroes. And in mid, you have Darkseer. He's taking a lot of damage. He's got that wall vacuum off, and he will fall to the 3 heroes of Birds.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Definitely. I'd just like to say Treant Protector has also been doing really well with that living armor to keep a lot of these towers up. That mid tier 1 tower was much lower in terms of health, and same with that bottom tier 1 tower, and there's another living armor. So he's doing very well to ensure that Andy Quach and friends don't get all those early tower kills, which they'd certainly love.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And Shadow Fiend saved up to 2,300 gold. We'll see what he wants to go shortly. They've drawn on the map. They're expecting there to be supports or something waiting in the wings of that middle tower, but it isn't so the case. But Shadowfiend, I'm not too sure what he wants to go for. What do you think will be most beneficial? Do you think it would be wise to go out burst damage and get maybe the butterfly? Do you think it would be wise to even go straight and get a BKB?
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if he grabbed that BKB. He's currently sitting on 2.4k, so I suspect he'll reveal his hand very soon. However, just on that forward, we see a little bit of engagement here on Darkseid. He surges and he's able to actually get out of here, which is very well played by him. What I do like is that the Alchemist himself is going for what looks to be that the Assault Curious, which will work very well with this. How will that for? We see another engagement on Darkseid. He won't be able to get out. And Quach and friends are coming in here from behind. There's a lift from Rubik. Nice ulti from Trent. However, reverse polarity was not shot off there from Magnus. Did get pretty much stun locked down there for the entire duration. This Trent is so low, will he be able to get it? Oh no, it actually finishes off the Rubik, however, he might be in a bit of trouble. There's the Puck who just fell, and there's the Trent as well. They should be able to get this tier 1 tower. So well played there from Andy Quach and friend.
That almost went absolutely terrible for Andy Quach and friends. They picked Darkseid. Andy Quach and friends were rotating around. They were coming prepared to dive from behind that tower. But then birds, they found that Darkseid who came in a little bit too early. They picked him off on the side, and then they started to rotate around. Fantastic overgrowth coming in from birds. But then the RP just couldn't get initialized. We had the unstable concoction come in. We had the lift. We had the impale, and then Magnus fell. If he hit the RP, that would have went the entire opposite way, and Andy Quach for friends could have got demolished. But however, they played fantastic on their part as well. They prioritized their heroes, found that Magnus, got rid of him first in the team fight, and then just found the heroes everywhere else on the map.
Definitely, and just as I was saying before, it looks like this Alchemist is going for the Assault Curious, which will work excellent with Shadow Demon, Shadow Fiend's aura. Just doing that mass minus armor. He actually just finished the ace, and I suspect the Shadow Fiend will probably go for a heavy right-click damage build as well for him. We might see something like a Desert eventually picked up by him later on in the game, but I do agree that he should be thinking of a BKB. I mean, he's relatively survivable with that Shadow Blade already, but a BKB will certainly be beneficial in those team fights.
I really love what Birds did here. They put a ward up and everything while they smoked. They went into Roshan. Shadow Demon even put up a counter rev. They know they have an observation ward here, so if they know that if Andy Quach and friends didn't see a rotation in here, even with their observer ward up, they would feel safer than what they actually are. So now they come over to counter ward it, but they might lose a life right here. Nyx Assassin gets that impale and then onto two heroes, and now we will see a dead Magnus, and Shadow Demon is on the run themselves. Darkseid will vacuum him back in, and there we go. There's the kill right there. I feel as if it was a little bit aggressive to come in to get that observation mode right then and there, especially after you expect a team to rotate into Roshan after you've taken it and see if they can find any stragglers. And Andy Quach and friends, they found two stragglers, and now they're taking tier 1 tower and now working on a tier 2 tower. So Roshan for 2 heroes and possibly 2 towers, at this stage it's definitely not worth it.
Yeah, and this anti-mage was actually able to pick off the Radiant Courier. He saw it come into that battle just at the end, and he pretty much blinked right up onto this cliff in the inside the jungle of Andy Quach and friends. 2 right clicks on that courier and finished them off. Just a very nice pick up there for him and for his team.
Well, luckily no one on Andy Quach and friends had any items on that courier. That could have been disastrous if, say, Shadow Fiend had his BKB up on there. And speaking of money and BKB, Shadow Fiend's got 5k gold, still hasn't decided to spend it on anything yet. He's sitting around, he's not even sure what he wants yet. He's saving for buyback, but then again, he's still got another 3k he can spend without wasting the piggy bank and for that buyback. So, it's quite curious.
Yeah, I mean, the Shadow Fiend's got 5.3k, and this Alchemist has 4.1, so I have no idea what they're going to build into. I wouldn't be surprised if Alchemist picked up something like an Abyssal, at the very least a Basher to start off with, just to help with those lockdowns much more. We see a bit of an engagement here on that Treant Protector from the Nyx, and there's they're engaging the anti-mage, they're doing a ton of damage to him, does blink out. There might be an RP coming in. Oh, Magnus trying to set it up as best as he can, ends up being skewered out. There's the Aegis that just fell. So you will see him respawning in just a sec, but Puck does fall in there, and what a great engagement here for Andy Quach and friends. So far they've only lost that Rubik, who does buy back. We will see a dead Magnus as well with the help of that stun from the Nyx assassin. And now the Shadow Demon is on the run, trying to find his way back into his own base.
Middle tower is under attack.
Once again, I feel as if Desukat was trying to be greedy. He was in there, and then he got stunned. Then he tried to skewer heroes instead of going for an RP then and there, which he could have hit 2, maybe 3 heroes. And then his RP basically whiffed completely. And now, in return, Andy Quach and friends, they've taken tier 3 tower, they've just taken the Shadow Demon, and now they've got racks. But then again, that's not to take away from Andy Quach and friends. They played fantastic, they had the damage, and they knew they could be extremely aggressive right there. Even anti-mage his mana void onto that Rubik, who at that time had absolutely no mana. It did a lot of damage, but it wasn't near enough damage to kill and completely turn around that fight.
Yeah, and we see that Alchemist, he's going for that Abyssal. Where is he? There he is. He's picked up that the bashes, and is very close to finishing off that Abyssal. Just needs a few hundred more gold. That Shadow Fiend, though, he's still sitting on 8k now, and has not decided to buy anything so far. I have no idea what he's going for. And despite that, though, he's still, despite only having a Shadow Blade and essentially his boots, he's still doing amazing around the map.
Yeah, I think he's going for that strategy where you get enough money to intimidate the opposition and just drown them in it. Other than that, I have no idea what he's going to do with this. Maybe go for a double Divine Rapier and completely wipe this game out, or I'm not too sure what he wants to do here, but I feel as if he needs to pick something up soon, or else if he makes one mistake, Birds can capitalize and turn this back around. I mean, Birds, they've still got lots of tier 1, 2, and well, basically tier 1 and 2 towers to eat through, and that's a lot of gold sitting there waiting to go to their side. Whereas Andy Quach and friends, they've capitalized on their tower kills, and now they're going to see initiation of mid picked up. Rubik will fall shortly after, and Stable Concoction's not going to land. They might see this. Will they want to engage? No, they will not. There was a ping coming out from that Shadow Demon to say he stunned himself, but Desukat didn't want to go in there. And Anti-Mage, in the meanwhile, will take off that Nyx Assassin down in bottom lane and also grab a tier 1 tower.
Yeah, definitely. This Darkseid is quite low up here in his top lane, so is the Puck though. Both have to be quite careful. Ooh, nice phase there by the Puck. Able to get out in the small sliver of health. And of course with the help. Oh, Magnus is here, skewered in, and the Shadow Fiend will fall. I suspect he'll start buying items there.
Yeah, he would have to. I mean, if he had like such as a BKB in that fight, he could have avoided a lot of that damage and even found a kill or two. But that's not going to be the case, but he's still not decided to buy anything.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going for the Shadow Blade and Boots only build. He'll probably start throwing his gold at the enemy team, considering how much he has.
It's fairly common to go for that build in Australia, where everything's backwards. I mean, you get money, but you just don't spend it. Why would you want to do that?
Yeah, very conservative there of him. He's trying to get interest off it.
Interest in our economy? I don't think that would work.
We see Anti-Mage just hiding over in the trees here. They obviously the side of Andy Quach and friends, they don't know he has a teleport. I'm not sure what he's just doing sitting here. His allies are nowhere nearby.
And he's going for that aggressive
He's going to blink behind.
Oh jeez. He's pushing his luck. We have TP smoke coming in, and he's blinking out. Will he be able to get out of TP in time? He started TP. Will we see a vacuum? Vacuum is pulled in. He's got blink up in one. Will he be able to blink out one more time? Nice impale coming through, and then instant burn down. Very aggressive and greedy anti-mage gets absolutely dropped, and now they lose the eye. Or I think someone dropped the eye. No, I believe he lost the eye. So that's another 600 gold on top of an anti-mage killed, wasted for birds. That is definitely terrible insight and bad decision making coming out by birds there.
Yeah, definitely. And with this helper, the Rubik was the one who picked up that gem. They'll be able to kill off some of these wards that birds have around the map. We will see a little bit of a push on this 2-2 tower. I don't think at the moment well, actually there's no creeps, but there they are now, so that will fall very quickly. And birds, I don't feel like they can really contest this at the moment. They should be able to still contest that tier 3, of course. However, at the same time, the mid is always on the push because of that, right? So Birds vs Birds have to play very defensively at this stage in the game. They can't really move too far outside of their own base, as since they have no more tier 2 towers, Quach and friends can be just about anywhere.
All we need is one fantastic RP coming from Cat, and the fight can be turned around. That's just one of the things with Magnus. If you can get one RP off, you can absolutely demolish a fight. But at the moment, Cat has not been playing fantastic. He's been trying to get too greedy, been missing those kills. Then he hasn't been taking those RPs when he can get them. So hopefully, Cat can grab one of these RPs and get a turnaround fight and pull Birds back into this game. But at the moment, both teams are waiting for that Roshan to respawn before any major engagement happens.
Yeah, definitely. See Shadow Fiend just basically just being a bank at this point and sitting on 9.2k. He could, if you could loan gold, he'll be able to farm up his entire team. I'm just still so surprised he hasn't picked anything up. We see that BKB from the Alchemist, which will basically just ensure that even with that RP, he's so survivable. With that ulti of his, does boost his health and regen, of course. So I can't see them getting too many kills on this Alchemist anytime soon, particularly now that he has that Abyssal, of course, as well.
And now he's just farming up for that buyback. Once he has that buyback, he's going to be next to unstoppable. Get straight back into a team fight. Well, almost straight back into a team fight, depending on where they decide to take the engagement. Nyx Assassin is rotating around with that Vendetta. Nice ward being placed down, but and they should have all the vision in the world for that Nyx Assassin. So if Nyx Assassin tries to get too aggressive, they can pick him off before the fight. But if they try and go on him and leave the rest of the team off guard, then they'll get instantly turned around from a vacuum, Shadow Fiend's Requiem, and then there'll be just death everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. We do see Quach and friends back off. Yeah, it looks like they will be waiting for that Roshan, which will be spawning in 30 seconds. Shadow Fiend just continuing to push that bot lane. So yeah, I mean, both teams playing a little bit more passively in these last 5 minutes or so in the game, just farming up, waiting for that Roshan to spawn. Quach and friends, they don't really want to engage until they have that Aegis, it seems. And I'm quite curious to see who they give that Aegis to. It'll probably be that Shadow Fiend, and I get the feeling they'll get the Aegis and just buy a Divine.
And I'd have to hand it to Bonsai on this anti-mage. He's been able to find farm even though he's died 4 times. He's got 1500k net, well, not 1500k, 15k net worth. And he's been able to pick up, he's now got a Skull Basher in his inventory. And now he's going to be doing a lot of damage, and he's got a lot of survivability. They've smoked up, they're going to be going past this nice ward that was placed here by Quach and friends, and they're going to be trying to contest this Roshan. Roshan is down to about a quarter HP. They're not going to be able to make it in time, but once this goes down, we should see a Magnus blink in and try and find an RP. Now they're looking on the side. Anti-Mage blinks in. Shadow Fiend's got that Aegis. Got a nice lift up in the air. Anti-Mage might get picked off before everything happens. He gets that Manta, but he's dead. Now we've got an RP being used, but it's not enough damage to follow up from the backlines. Tree will fall shortly after, and now it's a 3-for-0 trade with the Aegis going in favour of Quach and friends. Buyback by this Magnus, but he doesn't have RP. And Alchemist picks off Shadow Demon further on the backlines. And this could be GG very shortly for Birds.
Definitely. And as predicted, we do see that Divine Rapier on the Shadow Fiend. He still has 4.5k, so might want to grab a second one just to be safe. Quach and friends not going to go for a Rax. It looks like they're just going to go for the finish. We do see a nice skewer there onto the Nyx Assassin, gets pulled back and he's going to get picked off here. And but Alchemist is here and just 3 right clicks finishes off that part. Alchemist though, he's buy back and he's coming back into this fight very soon.
So we got the Acid Cocktail being channeled, lands onto the Magnus, 4 auto attacks, and that Magnus is dead. And that Puck being very aggressive in the backlines will fall to the Shadow Fiend with that Divine Rapier doing just under 500 damage in auto attacks. Now they're just cleaning up everyone in front of this fountain. We will see that Treant fall and that Shadow Demon shortly after. Anti-Mage wanted to pop that Mana Void off. Not going to happen, and Darkseer will survive. And now the Ancients will fall shortly after. And Andy, Quach and friends take this game.
Nice ulti there from Anti-Mage. Almost picked off the Alchemist in there. And it is a GG well played. Shadow Fiend did end up picking up that second Divine. We'll hit that GG button. Well played by Andy, Quach and friends. I mean, Birds did well as well in that early game, but once that Alchemist was farmed, he basically had that bottom lane free for himself the entire game, and he just got so farmed and just continued to dominate all around the map. Thank you very much, Dota Yoshi, for joining me for this cast. It's always been a pleasure to cast alongside with you.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
As always, you guys can follow me at twitch.tv/Xalorith. If you'd like to follow Dota Yoshi, you can do so at youtube.com/DotaYoshi. My stream is always in support of Child's Play. Child's Play aim to improve the lives of children in hospitals all around the world through the power of play and the kindness and generosity of the gaming community. You can donate to them via my Twitch channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link in the description, or via their official website. This has been a Defense of the Australians presentation. Thank you guys very much for watching. We have the semi-finals and finals being played on the 2nd of August at 7 PM. There will be a LAN event a LAN event for that at the Felix Bar, which is in St Kilda. You can check out more details on the Facebook page. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and until next time.